Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast, a Football Friday edition. Marc Lawrence in the house and Matt Fargo running late. Perhaps it's snowing in upstate New York. We do not know. I don't have a weather update. I was getting one from Mark off the coast of Florida. Not much going on for hurricane season, so that's always a plus.
Nope.
Because sometimes they find a way across the Gulf and run into my little panhandle of Houston here. So, listen, before we get to some NFL and college football or wherever the conversation may lead us, hit the like, share, subscribe, notification bell button here on the YouTube channel. We want you part of the Winning Free Pick family here. What are we doing? Let's go. Winner Circle in the house. We got college football, NFL, Major League Baseball. Playoffs are starting next week. Hockey preseason at Marc Lawrence is a huge better of hockey preseason. That's a joke, everybody. We know he doesn't jump it down. I'm just saying there'll be hockey and NBA picks coming soon enough. But listen, these are the free plays. 6 and 11 NFL free picks. It should have been a clean sweep last week. The Rams really cost us there. But listen, it is early here in the season. We'll get going. College football 9-7-1, a 2-2-1 last week, and again a heartbreaker with the Auburn safety. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A safety, like let's not just take back-to-back sacks. We'll take a safety to boot. But listen, again, free picks. Our best bets, where there hopefully there isn't heartache like that, can be found on gamblersworld.net. Top plays all day long there, and we have the buy 3, get the 4th free. It's great on a Friday because you got Friday college, Saturday college, NFL Sunday, and a doubleheader on Monday night. Get all of the games. Buy 3, get the 4th free. Go get it right now at gamblersworld.net. All of Mark's top plays, mine, and any other capper you want to get on board. Let's go. Hey, listen, Mark, your games last week here, you mailed them in, and the game, and I was right with you on these games. Brutal with the Rams. Let's just start with that Rams loss because that one was a loser for us. But on the flip side of that, I had the Jets who somehow pulled out a block and a miracle cover in the same fashion. So I don't know how often that happens to go, you lose one and you're thinking to yourself, what the heck just happened here? And then you pull another one out, a rabbit out of the hat. Whatever. It's 1-1. It's better than being 0-2, I guess.
It was a tough time sleeping for me Sunday night after watching that Rams fiasco. Obviously, you know which side we're talking about. I think it has to go down personally. I know there's a little bit of prejudice on my side, but I think it has to go down at least in the top 10 of all-time bad beats. At least in the top 10.
I mean, maybe because it was just a day of you saw the blocked field goal up in Cleveland, the Jets, the Rams return. The week before, you had the leverage penalty that cost people games. I mean, maybe just because it was like compounding them all together. But that was, I mean, the Rams were a dead to right cover for the game. They're beating them the whole game. Field goal wins it. Even if they lose, you're still winning by half. That is just a monumental way to go down. That is, again, but you put them all together, it's just a crazy weekend of football.
You know what was really unsettling for me, Sean, was they had a field goal attempt blocked the previous possession.
Yes.
Now, how often do you see back-to-back blocked field goals on 2 possessions, let alone ones that end up being as dearly costly as that happened to be? It was just and then I'm watching the replay afterwards, and I'm watching the holder. I think is Evan Ethan, I think his name is, for the Rams. And I'm watching him, and I'm saying, where were you when this football was blocked? And he had his hands on it. He didn't bring it in. Shouldn't the place kick holder have the good hands and be able to bring the ball back in? No.
Yes.
No, he didn't.
You see it coming, at least like swallow it up and just take the well, again, I go back, Mark, because that's a tough one. I go back to, I want to say it was Arizona San Fran on like a Sunday night game, and I thought I had just gotten in the back door with a late touchdown, and then the onside kick gets brought back for a touchdown. And I'm like, what? that just happened in college this weekend, I think, if I remember correctly. Some team pulled that off last week, I believe, for a tough one there. I'm trying to remember what game it was. Let me see if I can find it. But I could have sworn there was a onside kick return for a touchdown somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but Though that to me is the worst. If an onside kick gets returned for a touchdown, you're not. That is because at that point you're inside the number, right? You're thinking, look at this. All right, nice. I pulled that one. Whew, there you go. That's why we like the barn door being open. Don't let the horse out. And then the guy runs it back.
It's God's way of spanking you for trying an onside kick, is really what it is. Unfortunately, when it comes into your pocket, especially the way to lose a game like that, it's Scott Van Pelt has it right. I think he has to have at least a once a week 30-minute show on Bad Beats, and if he'd done that, he would have had to expand to an hour last week for everything we're talking about. Just the closeness of all these football games and the weird finishes that happened to them, it was really, really unbelievable.
Here we go. Western Kentucky returned an onside kick for a touchdown with under 30. The other team, Nevada, kicks a field goal or something, and then here comes Western Kentucky, the onside kick touchdown. 20-something seconds left. Whoosh. Whoosh. Oh my goodness. All right, listen. Right off the bat, what you weren't here last week. How was your weekend overall last week, and what are you preparing for this Saturday and Sunday of college and NFL?
Well,
or even Friday night if you got it.
My weekend overall was a lot like the LA Rams conclusion. It was a week I'd rather forget about, Sean. It ended with a Monday night winner with Detroit and a Sunday night winner, but that was about it. I mean, it was just really, really kind of hard to find a winner last week. And I'm telling myself that I've been doing this long enough, over 40 years, that I know that these things even out. You can cry about losses, but you never, ever cry about a win that you shouldn't have had. Yeah. That never happens. And they do tend to even themselves out. But all I know is I'm looking for the evening up process to begin immediately this week.
A lot of talk to faves have been winning, and I'm around 500 there with my NFL, like 16-16, 16-17. I'll take that because I do take more kind of dogs than faves most of the time. But to be hovering after a month, I can live with it the way things have gone. I've had some tough losses. I've had some pulling out a win. But for the first month, I'm like you. They kind of bounce out a little bit. And you just once they kind of start going your way a little bit more, the numbers kind of fall right. I think I'll be okay. College has been treating me okay though for the season. I'm doing all right in college out of the gate. No, and I got like 10 games this weekend. I feel good about college football.
Yeah, it's a nice looking card. We have quite a few marquee matchups, and if for no other reason, I was doing my podcast and we're isolating top games to focus in on, and they were all Big Ten or Southeast Conference matchups because that's where the power and where all the intrigue is. And now they're into conference play, and suddenly all these games inside these conferences, or the majority of them, become very, very interesting and must-see television. We've got a ton of on tap in the Big Ten this week, the Southeast Conference as well. So I think that is good for football right now, and we're going to be talking about this moving forward, about how good the card looks, I think, each and every week moving forward.
I agree with you. We'll start with the first one here. We can do like Notre Dame or Arkansas, get our little thoughts on this and work our way through some of these matchups. And I'm going to say for every one of these games, as good as these matchups are, Georgia, Alabama, and Penn State, Oregon, it's just not where it should be because the team can lose and still get into the playoffs for a championship punt. I feel and listen, if you're like me, is there one team you think is the best team? Like I haven't seen a really great team this year, right? There's nobody's, at least to me, I don't think anybody's standing out. I mean, you want to say Miami standing out, I'm going to say no. If you say, well, Ohio State beat Texas, I'm like, well, if they could complete a pass, Texas would have won that game. There hasn't been a lot of a sheer domination by one squad where you think this is the team to beat. I think it's wide open, and this is the year the playoffs make sense because there's just a lot of good teams, not great teams.
I guess if there's any one team that maybe deserves some accolades, it might be the Indiana Hoosiers.
All right.
For what they did to Illinois last week, nobody saw that coming. I mean, they may have seen Indiana winning the game and getting the money, but they didn't see it by 53 points. It was absolutely incredible, beat them by over 400 yards in the contest. Now the question is, can Indiana continue on that roll? They're going to go into Iowa this week, and I think Indiana gets the rug pulled out on them personally this week. It's kind of tough to get up after you scored 63 and 73 points in back-to-back games. There's a thing called a return to the norm process, and I think that might end up affecting a team like Indiana. But you were talking about what team stands out as head and shoulders the best team in college football this year. There is none.
There's none.
No.
We'll stay at this in the Indiana-Iowa game. I'm with you on Iowa there. It's like that's a team that has historically had trouble scoring, right? It's like, oh, here you go. They play these 13-10 games versus Iowa State, and there always seems to be in some kind of like rugby match type game. 8 points. I mean, what, 4 you think was a little too low, right? Because, again, you dropped 60 on a top 10 team. I mean, one, how the heck was Illinois ranked in the top 10? I don't know how that was even. Is that we got to put bad teams in the top 10, top 15? So if another SEC Big Ten team loses, it still looks good. Like, how are they a top 10 team? I don't think they were a top 10 team.
Well, somebody asked me that question, and I didn't play on Illinois last week because I was trying to fade Indiana, or I didn't think Indiana was all that good. I was looking all over Illinois last week because of what they brought back as far as production goes. They were the number 2 team in the country in returning production, 18 returning starters, undefeated, and taking a good touchdown in a football game like that. I'll be on that play every time it comes up. Now, to lose in the manner in which we lost was kind of like an embarrassing slap in the face, but it is what it is. If they lost the game by 1 point, it's still a loss. They lose the game by 50, it's still a loss. So what do you make of that? I just still feel, though, we were talking about this Iowa game here to Indiana. Kirk Ferentz has beat and covered this team 4 straight times in a row, Indiana. Now, this is a different team. There's no question. This Kirk Cignetti looks like he is a kind of a guy who wants to put his foot on your throat and won't let up. He's just unbelievable. He was college football coach of the year last year. He's showing why, and he's got a quarterback here. You watch and see what happens here, Sean. This Fernando Mendoza, I had read before the season began that he might be the number 1 pick of the draft, and they keep putting numbers up like this. You're going to be hearing more and more about Mendoza moving forward.
Let's pivot here off of the Indiana to the Illini mentioned. I took them first half here against USC. USC big win last week against Michigan State at home. They've beat up some tomato cans, as we like to say, some lower level competition. I don't know. This number looks a little high too at a touchdown. It actually come down to 6.5. You lose the way you lose. To me, it's like an autoplay on a team like that.
Well, it has to be.
And then you have the coach of USC complaining, like this guy whining, oh, we had the latest start time last week, and now we got the early start today. Like, it's not fair. Like, fella, you wanted to join the Big Ten, clown. You wanted to break up this is what you wanted. So get on the road and go play some real teams now in Big Ten. This is why you ruined the entire conference, because you thought you were going to come into the Big Ten and be somebody. Take the noon start time and stop crying.
Well, what doesn't fit in this game to me, Sean, is this, and this might be more mathematics than anything else, but you're talking about here in this game an Illinois football team who is a 6 or 7 point home underdog against Southern Cal. Last week, they were a 7 point road dog at Indiana. That's too much of a swing in a number here. I know the bookmakers are doing what they're doing, and they're anticipating people rushing to Southern Cal because they've been drowning people. And everybody remembers what they saw last with Illinois getting trounced. But This is way, way too extreme of a line swing in a football game. And I think you've got a red-faced home dog here that wants to come and play. And you look at Lincoln Riley, if he's got an Achilles heel, it's when he's on the road and laying points. He's just absolutely atrocious doing that. I think this fits like a glove. Illinois, I think they upend Southern Cal here.
Let's make it a pick. We're making Illinois a pick. College football. Illini plus the 7 here. There's let's make it. There's a 7 at DraftKings right now. We're taking a 7. There's 6.5s, but DK has a 7 posted right now on Odds Logic Live, so we'll run that. There's also 7 at Caesars, 7 at Circa, 6.5 at the FanDuel books, but we're taking plus 7 here with Illinois. Official show pick here. 9 and 7 plus 130 with our college footies. We got an NFL question. We'll pivot to NFL because we go wherever we could just talk forever, but let's get into the comments. Gavin's in the house. Thank you, Gavin, for popping in. I think it takes the first loss down in Tampa. I kind of like Tampa Bay here. And how do you not like Tampa Bay, Mark? I mean, Baker, who cares that they just win in the last minute? Let him be the cardiac kids. The guy knows how to win. He knows how to win.
Well, he comes from Cleveland where they were the cardiac kids. And what doesn't fit here for Philadelphia, to me, Sean, is not only do they come off that huge emotional win that arguably they should not have had, but this is a football team that has not won the yards in any football game they played this year. They're 3-0, but they've been out-yarded in every game.
Can't pass.
I call that leaking oil. And when you go on the road in a situation like that and lay points, that leaking oil can become like the Valdez, USS Valdez. They can leak that much oil here. I think this is a bad spot for Philadelphia, and I agree with you. I think Tampa is a live dog here.
Yeah, like I said, huge emotional win. You can say the same about Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay is like I want to say like they're the Philly lunchbox crew. Like it's just the team that people are kind of down on. Like, well, they lost Wirfs and Mike Evans is banged up and Godwin this, but yet they just find a way to just pull out wins. I mean, you got to give the guy some credit. What do we got? Back-to-back division titles down here for Tampa Bay. I mean, good for him. Does it all come down to that 98-yard drive he pulled off with the Rams that got his career back on track? Is it all about McVay turning this guy around on one drive?
Well, I'll tell you what it is in Cleveland, what I know when he was in Cleveland. He was extremely popular, but he was very, very immature. And the management didn't dig that at all. He was like a little kid in a candy store. And they wanted people that were focused there, especially their quarterback. And that sort of put the divide between Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. And it's one of the reasons they made the move for Watson. But if there's one move Cleveland wishes they would have never, ever even thought about, it has to be that move or that trade for Watson. Because look at Baker Mayfield now. How nice would he look in a Cleveland Browns uniform?
I mean, Stefanski was the coach of the year. I mean, this guy, who knows? I say Super Bowl and stuff like that, but he's been as productive. Okay, he's not Mahomes, he's not Allen or Burrow or somebody else or even Dak or whatever I'm put out there. The guy produces wins. He keeps you in the game, and he's all but clutch. Come on, that's 3. He's got 3, just 3 already this year. I mean, good stuff. We got.
Did I share with you the story of him when he transferred from Texas Tech to Oklahoma?
Say it again for the listeners.
Well, when he left the program from Texas Tech to go to Oklahoma, he didn't go there because Oklahoma reeled him in or recruited him. He just wanted to go to Oklahoma. And when he went there, he didn't even go on a scholarship. So during the time he transferred until he got to Oklahoma, he was playing intramural football with people on the intramural league that didn't even have any idea who the guy was. And he was like Johnny Unitas on the field there.
I was going to say, catching rockets from that. Just go. I'll throw it to you. Just go downfield. I'll throw a bomb.
Exactly. So kind of a neat little story about him, how he kind of caught the surprise of everybody to Oklahoma real quick.
D Nice. Here we go. My name is D Nice. Mark, you like to do throwback music songs. I will do a D Nice. They call me D Nice from, I think it was about 91. It was a rap song. Taking out the suckers, I might do it. Not that you're a big rap guy, early rap, but D Nice. I don't think this is really him, but I'm going to call him D Nice. He says the Eagles are a lock. Bucs offensive line banged up, as I just said. Best wide receivers out. Listen, Mark will tell you, D Nice, it's not that nice. It turns into nice tea, like Michelle A would say. This is one that looks way too easy. No, it looks that easy. It's not. It's not going to be that. You're late, and plus you got a hook. To the cover, the 3 doesn't even get you there.
Well, he's right about the Bucs being banged up, but you can look at half of the football card and talk about half those teams that are banged up or injured. What matters is when the kickoff starts and how they play on the field and the people that are there in position to play. I just like the way Tampa Bay plays football here. And again, I think the biggest part of this handicap is the fact that Philadelphia is walking on a cloud that perhaps should have been a rain cloud rather than a warm, cushy cloud that they had last week. And I think they get exposed.
We're making Tampa Bay plus 3.5 a show pick today as well.
There we go.
So we got We got the Illini +7, Tampa Bay +3.5 here. So we're talking. I want to jump back on the college side of things. Notre Dame and Arkansas. Lines come down. I think Pittman's kind of a hot seat kind of cat. He does cover as a dog, ridiculous, like at a 20-10 run or something like that. 9 straight wins nine outright wins as a dog. He's solid. Is there still value at the 4.5? Do you think, or is this just a straight? Would you look at a total? We need our King Creel for this one. He's the total master here. Would he be still staying on the over the way the Notre Dame defense has been?
Well, that's the problem here. This Notre Dame defense is not a Marcus Freeman type defense, and I think we're going to see this stuff shore up here at Notre Dame sooner than later. But I think that right now, this particular week, I think this is a pretty good spot here for Arkansas. You got a football team that you talk about teams that can't afford to drop out too early in the race for either a playoff spot or at least in the Southeast Conference. That has to be Arkansas. And you've got Notre Dame coming in off that soft win over Purdue. Good spot here, I think, if you look for Arkansas in this football game here. And I'm a big Sam Pittman fan. I think he has his football team. He gets the most out of his football teams.
Yeah.
And the bottom line here, Sean, you've got a Southeast Conference dog to a non-Southeast Conference team. That's almost always has to be a look until it isn't. And that would be the side I would go to, would be Arkansas, the SEC puppy.
I'll tell you what, I was on the wrong side of that when I had Baylor against Auburn in the first week. I'm like, why are they a favorite over an SEC team? Like, figure everybody's going to come in and pour in on SEC. I'd say I'm going to outsmart everybody. No, I was not the smartest person in the room that day. It was the SEC again getting it done in that spot. Speaking of the SEC, let's go down to this game. We got 2 big games today. We got Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon. Alabama, 3-point doggy to Georgia. I see a rando 2.5 out there. So somebody just bought onto Alabama at FanDuel 2.5.
I don't know what that's about.
To me, this is talent-wise, the teams are probably equal, right? You got X amount of NFL guys, recruits, blah, 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 blah. This, to me, is Kirby Smart versus Caleb DeMora. And the edges, I got to send it over to Kirby Smart. I know that Alabama's won 9 out of the last 10. The lone loss was, of course, the national championship. Yes. But still, you better beat this guy. I mean, this is a guy who comes in for Alabama blowing – he's losing by double digits on the road outright. You're going to come in here and lose? Oh, I'll tell you what, not that he's a hot seat candidate. He loses to this Bama team. I think people will be a little PO'd over there in Georgia. They'd be mad in Athens.
Then you can see the seats starting to warm up a little for Kirby Smart there because
right. I mean, he's a better coach. He should win this game just based on DeBoer's SEC history on the road.
He should. But to me, you're talking about a 2-1 Alabama team taking on a 3-0 Georgia team, and if Bama loses this football game, that's 2 losses. Could they afford a third and still make the playoff? Possibly, if they're in the if that third loss comes in the SEC championship game. If it's in the regular season, you can forget about it and you can seal Alabama's season all up again here. This is a huge game for Alabama and Kalen DeBoer. He obviously wants to get his team back in the winning track here. And the thing about Georgia and where they're going and why we're even whispering about Kirby Smart being on a hot seat here is he was the premier recruiting coach of all of college football. He out-recruited Nick Saban, to be honest with you, in the Southeast Conference. Yeah. But that doesn't happen today. Now they have to spend the money. The recruits don't matter. They don't matter as much because all that really matters is who you're going to bring in, how much money you're going to spend, and you're going to plug and play with players from other teams. And I think that's sort of out of Kirby Smart's realm, what he does best. And it's taken away his recruiting ability. And that's where he really had a big, huge edge in years past. And I think that's going to catch up with them sooner than later.
Well, like all these teams, the money's spread around, and apparently people aren't as indestructible as they used to be when there's actually everybody's allowed to spend money on the up and up. You see, a little bit different now. But now listen, did these guys probably get stuff? I'm sure a lot of colleges did that. That's besides the point. But the problem now, though, with that, Mark, is that after a year or so, a kid can be like, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere else because they're going to pay me more. as opposed to you're still keeping that top guy as a backup, and the depth kind of gets chipped away, and that's a missed tackle that costs you a game or a first down. That's where I think the money comes to play, really, where before they had guys and they just kept them on because they were getting paid, they stayed there. Now you see the MAC get picked apart by stuff like this. These teams, why am I going to stay here and not play? I'm going to go somewhere else and play and get money. I don't want to be a backup on Georgia. I'm going to be a starter for Vanderbilt. I'm going to go and start for Boise, and they're going to pay me, the same money.
Well, it's appealing. There's no question. And, that's the reason we're seeing moves being made like teams like Vanderbilt. A lot of money down there in Vanderbilt, a lot of money around that campus. And, they brought in a good quarterback in Diego Pavia. All of a sudden, things are coming together for the Commodores down there. And it's really nice to see because the Southeast Conference didn't really need a whipping boy each and every year like Vanderbilt had turned into. So there's some good things and bad things to be said about this world of college football that we're living in here today. But I think what bothers me the most is what I remember in my mind, and sometimes you remember the wrong things. I remember, I'm going to go, and I like your term, Sean, the throwback days, not the old days, the throwback days. I remember when Tony Dorsett at Pittsburgh was the nation's best running back in Pitt, and he was drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. And he made the comment that he took a pay cut going from Pitt to Dallas.
In 1970,
he did. I mean, they were still playing payers under the table in that sense. So maybe it's something that was going on that we weren't ever really aware of, but now it's blatantly out in the open, and now there's no infraction that any program's suffering. And that's why the college football world is what it is today.
The Raising Cane's by my house has a bunch of guys from Houston, big cardboard cutouts. Kids my son played football with in high school who were on his team with him. Big cardboard cutout of the guy. He's a bench player, but he's getting $50,000 of the hot chicken fingers. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Real fast, we got a comment from Ty. I'm going to get to Ty in a second, but we're talking about Alabama's upcoming schedule, and I think a 3-loss SEC team could probably get in based on if it's going to be a not a great teams, a lot of 1 or 2 loss teams.
The problem for Bama is one of those losses is a flat out ugly loss. Okay, there's no justifying that.
You're talking about Vanderbilt. We can make fun of Vanderbilt. They're ranked 18th. At Missouri is ranked 20th. Tennessee is ranked 15th at home. South Carolina is having a bad year. LSU is ranked in the top 5. Oklahoma is ranked 7. Of course, there's the Eastern Illinois Cupcake before Auburn. I mean, I understand the SEC is like, well, you lose to an SEC team, they're ranked. I don't know. I'm with you. Like a bunch of 9 and 4 teams don't mean you're good.
No, it
doesn't mean you're good. Speaking of SEC, here's another one. What do you think about this one? Ty wants to know. Look at him. He's happy. He's got Winnie the Pooh counting money with a ski mask on. This guy's ready to go. Tennessee, Mississippi State.
You know what? I do a daily coffee club, and anybody that subscribes to my services or publications, I email that to them every day. It's a no-charge bonus for me, and I kind of share my thoughts on the card each day in the coffee club. And one of our listeners or viewers out there sent an email and asked me who I thought is the most surprising team in college football to date right now. And my answer was, that's easy. It has to be Mississippi State. You could talk about Vanderbilt making a lot of noise and some other good programs that were supposed to be good, but where did Mississippi State come from? That's the question I want to know.
Yes.
Where on God's green earth did they come from? And nothing phony, Sean, about the work that they've done. Everything is rock solid in the stats. Until it sounds any different from this football program here, every game they played has been a cover. Every game's been, a rock solid stat cover here. I think the cowbells could be loud, ringing loud real well in this football game here. I think this is a real bad spot for Tennessee to be in if Mississippi State is this good. Now, if they get exposed, okay, then maybe it was just an opening act and it turned into a horror show. But I cannot look past Mississippi State for the way they're playing right now.
They followed up the Georgia crazy game with, UAB, no problem, 56 points. But like I said, Mississippi State here was them and I think Kentucky were picked to be like last in conference here. These were like the bottom kind of tier teams here. And yet State's won some games, 4-0. Listen, the trendy pick was, I guess, preseason Southern Miss was like, I bet Southern Miss against Mississippi State. Rivalry, not rivalry from the standpoint of it's a in-state big brother, little brother kind of game, but they took care of business there. The Arizona State game was a little trickier there, but that was another play. A lot of the sharps were on taking them there versus Arizona State in revenge spot. And here you go. You had a cupcake before. I like him as a home dog. You're catching, 7 here?
Yeah, that's that's a healthy number for a football team playing this well. No slings and arrows to shoot at Mississippi State here thus far this football season.
No, it's and I hate the term it's like house money with these guys. They're playing, well, they are. They're kind of playing carefree kind of ball. They're, in a spot where they weren't supposed to be. You're going to be a touchdown at home with that kind of squad. I think it could be a little dangerous spot for Tennessee. They got the old Rocky Top better be on upset alert there.
Who's the comedian ringing the cowbell?
That's what was that Will Ferrell with the cowbell?
Yeah, Will Ferrell, cowbell. That's what this is.
He's like the Christopher Walken. I need more cowbell.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're tuning in with me and Mark today, hit the like button here on the YouTube channel. It's a little light on a weekend here right now. We talked about the one big game at 7:30. There's another one. Oregon and Penn State. 3.5 here for the Nittany Lions. I want to take – I haven't pulled the trigger on Penn State. I haven't pulled the trigger on them. I kind of want to based on just their edge of quarterback. Like that's what I'm basing this on. Forget about revenge for last year. It's a different kind of team. The Ducks quarterback is in the NFL and Penn State quarterback's back. The problem lies with James Franklin versus good teams. He beat Boise last year. He's the only good team he beat. He can't beat Oregon, he lost to. Michigan, we know he lost to. Ohio State, he lost to. Can he get it done here on a Saturday night at home? Will the whiteout work? Is this going to be old school 1986 Penn State getting the job done?
Well, I think this is a tough spot here. I think it's a great football game, number one, obviously. Just to speak of the obvious, but you hit it right on the head about James Franklin here. He's a cripple shooter. He beats up on all the weak sisters. He also plays for the alumni. We get the gist. We see how he covers games, when calls timeouts when he should be kneeling out to get out of there, but he'll call a timeout and throw a pass to beat the spread and things like that. So his ear is well attuned to the alumni. But now in a game like this, there's nothing cripple about the Oregon Ducks here. You mentioned Franklin here. 1-18 outright against top 5 ranked teams. 1-18 outright. That's a horrible number that I know that it's like an albatross around his neck that I'm sure he wants to get over. But there's another aspect to this game here, Sean, that I think is worth noting, and it's this. In my writings that I do, there's a thing that I call a collision course. And what a collision course is, after the third game of the season, you got 3-0 or better teams, and 2 undefeated teams lock horns against each other in the regular season. One simple rule: play the underdog. The underdogs in these games have been terrific, and that would be Oregon here. There's 2 of them on the card this week, but that would be Oregon in this football game. Now, I don't like going into the revenge. You can talk about the whiteout and everything you want. The truth of the matter is the whiteout hasn't really benefited Penn State all that much to the spread. It's probably a good feeling and environment to be in, but I'm not certainly going to bet the game because of a whiteout. But bottom line to me is a collision course is in the making here, and you put a gun to my head, I have to play Oregon plus the points.
It's to me, it's the way Franklin is. You can't trust him. On the same token, the quarterback is better. You should win this one. You should. Now, again, I haven't put my money on this. My mouth's talking about it. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window on it, as the saying goes. By the way, our guy Franklin this year, 0-3 versus the number, has not covered a 42, a 42, or a 47 this year.
Boy, the alumni all over him, huh?
They are not. I'm sure they're a little annoyed. Like, hello, can we? You want this no money, Phil? You're crush us. We need a big win. Maybe this is even here can't even help them. I think you're taking them as an underdog. You're going to be favored the whole time, and this would be a crusher for the alumni to go down like this. Forget about covering, just a loss. These guys are going to ante up. They definitely want a big win here. But like I said, this cat, and also maybe it's being in Pittsburgh because Narduzzi the other day before the West Virginia game, we're up over Central Michigan throwing 40-yard touchdown passes with like 30 seconds to go to cover spreads. These guys, I think, listen, it is out there now. They kind of know that they need money for their contracts, and you're going to see a couple of those things. Now, it's not like old days where, hey, we got to run it up for BCS and we need poll rankings to, beat team 66 to 10. But I think these teams, if they have a shot, Penn State, whoever, they will definitely take a stab and try to do something there. All right, you see it coming across the bottom. Buy 3, get 1 free all weekend long here. Best day to do it on Friday because then you get the Monday night game included. You can't beat it. Head to gamblesworld.net for all of our top plays. These are free picks here. Illinois +7, Tampa Bay +3. You know what? Let's add Mississippi State here plus the touchdown as well. We're going to dog it up. Mississippi State. We both kind of like that versus Tennessee plus the 7. Mark got a little Friday football up. You got anything for Saturday? Ready to bust that? I see you got your college football up for Friday.
Yep, we're doing. We've got a big card on Saturday here. I've got 3 really nice prime plays at Gamblers World that you want to tune into. I think we have a much, much better chance of cashing 2 of these 3 than we do dropping 2 of the 3. And like you mentioned, Sean, at the top of the show here, this is the time of the year that you get serious about college football. When they go into conference play and you can separate the wheat from the chaff. And now you're putting teams up against each other that are wheat against wheat. And that's where I love handicapping football. Get into the stats, get into the teams, get into the coaches. And so right now, I'm drooling for this weekend here. I know it was a tough weekend for yours truly last week, but like I said, I'm waiting for that evening out process to begin, and it starts this weekend.
Yeah, we have the non-conference. You get a couple nice matchups here and there, but nope. This is like January college basketball for the basketball fans. You get everybody head-to-head, teams they've played for years and years on end. The coaches, the players. The hatred is real. Not that it's easier, but I think the handicapping-wise, I think it's a little easier than when they're playing their non-conference.
John, I should have also mentioned that in that Saturday card, I am posting a 5-star college football game of the month, and we've done really, really well with these plays. And I always use underdogs that I think can win the football games. And the team that I'm using this particular week is in a role that he's won 21 times in a row. Won the game. So check that out. That's all part of that Saturday package at Gamblers World, if you will.
There you go. Monster game of the month for Marc Lawrence. Go get it. Get in the 3-day pass. It's cheaper than probably just buying the Saturday games. I'm just saying. We try to save you a little money while you're betting. It doesn't hurt to get a couple games, folks. Make the smart money move. You're not going to walk over a $50 bill on the street. Although probably in Vegas you would, because it's bad luck when you see 50s. Definitely don't want $50 bills anywhere in your pockets. John's in the house. Appalachian State at Boise. And Mark, congratulations on sweeping the NFL last weekend.
I had a sweep in the NFL last weekend on our newsletter. Yes, we did. On the newsletter, obviously the Rams weren't on the newsletter, but they were featured on our primary prime plays that we sell. But I think the NFL card's a little tougher this week than it was last. But what did our commenter say about the NFL? Did you say, Sean?
No, he's saying good job last week on it.
Oh, okay, great.
For Appalachian, I don't even know Appalachian State and Boise this week. Do I have anything on this game here, Appalachian and Boise? I thought I was leading towards I had Boise last week to pull out a nice one. We got that late. That was a little back and forth. I was getting a little concerned about here. No Boise for me this week in Appalachian.
No Boise for me here either, Sean. And there's a thing we do called the Smart Box in our newsletter, and it's kind of to educate the people who read it.
16.5 point favorites
involves is a play against Boise State here. And simply put, what happens is when you open up the season with 2 straight wins and you drop game 3, game 4 becomes difficult. You think you want to win and get back on the win track, but you find yourself at home laying points to a hungry underdog here. It's not a good role for Boise State to be in this week. Put me on Appalachian State in the contest.
And this isn't actually a late kind of non-con. I mean, like it's basically October. Appalachian State's coming to play Boise in the Mountain West.
Well, the only good thing for them is they come from Boone, North Carolina, which is up in the mountains in North Carolina. So
it shouldn't affect the
maybe
elevation.
they'll adapt, right?
Mar's in the house. Welcome, Mar. Let's pivot. We gave out a couple college footies here. We gave out some college football, but NFL we talked about the Tampa game. So Illinois, Mississippi State there in college football. Touchdown doggies for you. NFL wise, hey, better late than never, Mar. You're here. We like Tampa Bay plus the 3. We have an early game in Ireland. Vikings Steelers. My handicap on this would be simple. It's a longer flight from Minnesota than it is from New England to Ireland. Aaron Rodgers looked like crap last week. He threw for 80 yards. The Vikings scored 40 points in the third quarter. They were up whatever they're out kicking the Saints' butts. The line is flipped here pretty much based on that. Of course the Steelers are going to win this one to me. I mean, that is just common sense. No way the Steelers – how are the Steelers going to score here? I don't know. They're going to win. 40 points for the Vikes last week. Why is this game going to be 17-13? I don't know why. Tell me why, Mark.
Well, the question here is, does Carson Wentz have back-to-back wins in him? He took that job, the backup job, and got the start, and all of a sudden he dusted off the rust, per se. I don't think he performed admirably, but it was enough to get the win. Looks like he performed admirably when they put up 48 points against the defenseless Cincinnati Bengal football team. But the cuffs and the collars did not match. 48 points, 352 yards. That does not match it. It means is they didn't earn their points. They didn't earn their productivity. It's hard for me to back Pittsburgh because they're one of I think 6 teams or 7 teams in the NFL that has not won the yardage yet in any one of their 3 games. And Pittsburgh is one of those teams. They're a winning team who's been out-yarded in every football game they've played. Bottom line, when push comes to shove to me, and it's probably an analogy that people could use if they want to do a Cliff Notes version of handicapping the NFL card every week, back the better quarterback. Do you want Carson Wentz or do you want Aaron Rodgers? In a win-type situation here. I know Aaron Rodgers has seen a lot, and it's all in the rearview mirror and whatnot, but I don't think Carson Wentz has 2 wins in a row in him, so I'm going to lean to Pittsburgh here in the game as well.
That's that, and again, it's a simple, dumb-sounding handicap from the sense of it, because people are like, oh, they want their analytics and their stats on. Listen, you got a guy Wentz is on another team this year as a backup for a reason. He's a veteran guy who's in there in case something goes wrong. Obviously, something went wrong. You faced a bad team at home. It worked out well. Not a good spot. Yeah. Pittsburgh. You know what? We're putting Pittsburgh out here. So these wackos are going to be up at 6 a.m. on the West Coast looking to bet a game. Let them watch the video and take Steelers plus 2.5. There you go, folks. Nice early morning action for you. Ray, look at it. He wants a player prop here. Saquon Barkley under rushing yards. What is it? Was he in the 90s with this total? I don't even know what the total is on this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's been like under every week, hasn't he, so far this season? Barkley? Our
guy Chip Trim at the beginning of the year said he threw out a couple Daniel Jones stuff. He said, give me Barkley and Henry for the Ravens. Give me under all the time. Whatever their season props are rushing, give me under. There's no way they're going to be 2,000-yard rushers again. Go under. They're just going to be kind of, Super Bowl aspirations. Maybe when they could not use them, they won't use them. So far, you talked about the Eagles. They have not looked great offensively. They've put up some points, but it's not how you think they're putting up points. It's
you know what they're doing, Sean? The Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to draw this comparison here. They're playing a lot right now like the Kansas City Chiefs did here recently of late. Kansas City had won 17 one-score games in a row.
Yeah.
But when you look at what they did inside those one-score games, they were out-yarded in half of them, okay? Out-yarded in half of them, but they still found a way to hang around and win football games.
Win a game.
And that's what Philadelphia seems to be taking on that same persona this year like the Kansas City Chiefs did. They could get out-yarded again in Tampa and maybe somehow still win the game. But it's who they are now. It's the personality that they're developing. And I think I'd be very aware of that when you move forward with Philadelphia. What I'm basically saying is I don't see Philadelphia blowing out a lot of teams this year.
And honestly, you won Super Bowls. we got a goal. We could just kind of play and win. You had to see with Kansas City for 5 years, they kind of played that kind of ball. Like, let's get to where we got to be. We know we're better. When it's time to execute, we're going to win. You can do that when you're a winning team. Eagles are a winning team. The Chiefs were a winning team for years. I mean, they're still a winning team, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
I understand that. Like, if your team's that good, it's like, all right, you want us to cover. We're just looking to win because we got bigger fish to fry. Let's wait till the end of December, and then we'll start churning for the playoffs and then get our stuff going together there. Mar, we talked about the Rams. We talked about the Rams debacle. And we did talk about this briefly here, right? I think McVay, off of that loss, is going to be on these cats. I would have liked the bigger number with the Colts to start, but I'm more intrigued by the total in this, Mark, with it going from 46 up to 50. 46.5, there's a 50 out there, 49.5. Why is there a 3-point line move on this to the total? After the Rams pissed away a lead on the road, do you think McVay would come in and be like, that ain't happening? Are we that impressed? Listen, Daniel Jones has been great, putting, 30 points a game up? I understand. But the Rams are
the MVP right now, Sean. If they took an MVP vote after 3 weeks,
I know, but I know it's you play the team in front of you every week, and that's the way it goes. But a 3-point move to the total after the way they played, that to me, they're at 50. They're begging me to take the under with these teams. I like the over, and I still sort of like the Colts, although this is not the number I want to bet them at. So 5.5 opener was a lot better.
You're saying that total is telling you something, the total on the game.
It does. I mean, yes. 3 point. Who's betting that total Monday morning to move at 3 points?
People with a strong opinion with deep pockets, I would imagine.
Right? And I look at that like, is that a whole, you know what, let's move on this. Let them move it. Maybe the public jumps on the steam and bumps up to 50. Maybe it goes to 50.5, and then we come in on the under, and this game ends 24-20, 27-20, and they're safe on the total. Like, that looks like a lot of points.
Well, from the total standpoint, I'm sure it does. And I haven't read Victor's totals tip sheet yet. I'd be curious to see what it is that he has to say in that game. And if it's one of his 3 featured games and he matches up to you, I think that's probably worth snapping the rubber band for.
Right. It's just, again, I'm not a huge, we're going to the database kind of guy. I look at it and be like, it just from betting for 30 years, it just doesn't look right in my eyes. It's like one of those kind of things, like, they just stick out a little. They just stick out. Detroit laying a number here. So this has gone up to, it was 10. It went down to 8.5. Now it's back in the 9.5, 10 range. This line wouldn't have moved anywhere, Mar. So I do look at lines, and I think I said, if you want Detroit, you take them now at the 8, because if they win, it's going to go up. If they lose, the sky is falling. They have to win, it's going to go up. And sure enough, it goes up a couple points. I think Cleveland just gets zero respect. Okay, are they a bad team? Yeah, they're not a great team. I've seen them battle. We could say the Bengals aren't a playoff team. They got a decent quarterback, a decent offense. The Packers on the road, you want to make fun of the Packers? I don't know. The Packers beat the Lions. I don't know how bad the Packers are. These guys can play defense. I don't want to lay 10 with the Lions on a short week to boot. No.
Well, a short week and off a big win. It was a big emotional win for Detroit.
Exactly.
A game that they really wanted. They needed.
If they had Minnesota or Chicago up next, or another division team up next, I'd really love Cleveland here. But they got a trip to Cincinnati on deck. Detroit does. But I still like the points here. I mean, you're going to be double digits.
With the number 1 defense in the league, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're in it. I think you're in it.
I agree. I think this goes down to not who scores last, but I think Cleveland at least keeps this game inside of a touchdown.
You're going to regret the Virginia pick. Go back and watch the game to get beat deep consistently, and FSU thrives on the deep ball plus Virginia, center and right tackle. Yeah, we did the Virginia game the other day. Me and was it Chip? I think it was Doug. Maybe me and Doug did the Virginia game. I don't even remember who it was. It was either Fargo or Doug Upstone. We talked about Virginia, Florida State, and we liked Virginia plus the 7. Any thoughts on this game? I just look at it as Florida State is the name brand. Virginia is the upstart. Florida State has Miami next week, which is kind of why I lean a little bit towards taking a dog here. Well, I think the over is in play. Listen, I got the over in Virginia. I think in worst case, I'm splitting.
Well, you're looking at a Virginia football team that appears improved this football season here, and Florida State all of a sudden appears to be priced like Florida State of old in years past. Not Bobby Bowden Florida State, but they're getting a lot of respect, the Seminoles are here. And this being what I'm going to call an odd Friday game, you can say what you want about that, but I think personally, if you believe any at all in biorhythms, I think Friday games throw college football kids off. They're used to Friday. Who knows what they do Friday night? It's not playing football games in high school, maybe, but not in college football. I think you've got a live dog here in Virginia looking here at this football game. They played really, really good. And they're also, take a look in conference games, 11-3-1 of the spread the last 14 games for Virginia in conference play. I think you have to respect that number and respect the Cavaliers here.
I agree with you. The Virginia team, as I'm writing down the Virginia, I'm moving it over to this page because I keep the records here, folks, for the free picks when we do our shows here. 9-7-1 plus 130 with our college football. And I was just writing down because we did have under 43.5 last night. So our NFL moves to 7-10. 7-11 minus 520 there heading into this weekend. I was just doing that. So apologies for being sidetracked there. Gotta keep track, Mark, because
absolutely
they want to see how we do. I want to let them know whether it's you ride us or you say, you know what, these guys haven't been going to free picks. We got to go against the free picks. So I kind of keep track of them there. Star Child's in the house. Arizona, Iowa State. We didn't talk about this one. We did the Iowa game. We didn't really talk about Iowa State, Arizona. I like Arizona. I'm getting points. Again, the Iowa State home aspect of it. Arizona, second-year quarterback on the road, first-year quarterback, whatever he is, young guy. Those are questions I have, but I lean to the dog here. I'm pulling up the live line here on Odds Logic here to see what we got on this one. Do you have any thoughts on this game here? Where is this a night game? Where are we at here? Yes, 7 o'clock. Yes, it's a 5.5 at one spot here now. 6.
Yeah, it's getting beat up a little bit.
A better number here with Arizona. I got 6.5. I got a 6.5.
I think there's a good handicap to Arizona here, Sean. That might be part of the reason. Number one, they do what we term in our midweek alert newsletter. That's our racing form of newsletters, a statistical newsletter. And, I like technical handicapping. I love statistical handicapping to break the numbers down and apply them in head-to-head matchups here. The edge that Arizona has in this game is they're the underdog that has the better offense and the better defense. That's a nice combination when you take into a football game with an underdog. And they've also out-yarded their opponents an average net of 222 yards a game this season, Arizona. They are not a fluke this football season, this team. I like them in this football game, and I think Iowa State could taste that first defeat in this contest.
We're throwing up another dog, Arizona, plus 6.5. We got 4 doggies here. Well, the Virginia game doesn't count for this. Well, it does count, but for this video because it's Friday night as opposed to Saturdays. But Starchild says he took Florida State first half, lean under for the game. I like the over. We're on the other side there. We'll see what happens. We did not talk about Ohio State, Washington. We a lot of college picks here today. A lot of people want to talk college as opposed to NFL. The number 1 Ohio State Buckeyes, an 8 spot in Washington. Listen. You see our picks here: Illinois plus 7, Mississippi State plus 7, Arizona plus 6.5, Virginia plus 7. I'm going to lean towards the dog as well here.
Sean, I hope I'm not influencing you here with these dogs, but you're taking the lead on these. I love seeing that.
I mean, Ohio State is the number one team. I'm trying to figure out why they're number one. You beat Texas, who outstatted you, and Manning couldn't complete a pass when he had to. Who have they beaten? Ohio State, Grambling? I mean, come on. And now you're going on the road. Washington just beat Washington State. They beat them pretty good. You're home. You got a freshman quarterback on the road in a hostile kind of environment. Like, dude, these college campuses, you go in there, it's okay, it's Washington, but they're going to be pumped up to see Ohio State. This is a big game. I'll take a home dog in this spot versus a guy making his first real start on the road at a real place.
Well, I threw that number at you about Arizona and how badly they're outstanding opponents. Washington's outstanding opponents 274 yards a game this season.
I mean, that's a huge
and
number.
They just happen to have won 21 straight home games in a row. Now you're going to take 8 from the number one team in the country who's coming off a bye week, and I can assure you, in my database, undefeated teams coming off bye weeks in the regular season, that bye week turns into rust. It breaks momentum for undefeated football teams. Now you got to go coast to coast for Ohio State in this football game. This is a really, really tough game for the Buckeyes. They have to get up, win, and cover. They got to play convincingly and win a game by double digits for all intents and purposes to get out of here alive and with the cash. I think Washington's a live dog in this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you get into even a 7 for me, at that point, the team better be up by 14 in case there's a backdoor. Yep. You're getting 7, 8, 9. It's a double-digit win. That's tough to do on the road. I don't care. This could be an NFL team we're talking about here. It doesn't make a difference. Winning by 10 on the road, I don't care what level, is difficult. It's
Sean, I'll take any home dog in college football that's won 21 straight games in a row and give me a touchdown in the game.
I think you have a shot at least.
Yes, they do.
Right. And you know what the thing is out here? This is the thing, Mark, that separates, and I was saying this today in my show, from like the pros versus the China Joe's people. Like that game, one game is not going to ruin us, right? It's a lot. Washington lost. You could come back on another home dog next week because your bankroll isn't gone after one weekend of, say, home dogs going 3-5, right? It's not like, oh my goodness, I can't. That is one day, and then tomorrow's the next day. Like you gotta. I don't think people compound the whole season as they should. They look at it as an individual game. Like, well, you lost that game. Well, that's one game. It's not one game. It's a Saturday full of games, and it turned into a Sunday, then a week, then a month, then 3 months, then a year of action combined. It's okay.
What you're saying. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I
was going to say, people have to understand it's a long game. It's not going 3-1 today. No. You want to go 6-4. 60. Even 60% is kind of high. Let's just 55% you should be happy with. But they're so enamored with one game. Well, that game lost. Well, if the next 2 win, you're 2-1. You got to play it's like not the percentages, but it is the percentages. It's a long haul, not just one game. Like you said, we got a bunch of dogs today.
Well, you have to approach this sport like you would a business. And basically, you're in it to win the battles, because if you win enough battles, you'll win the war. You can't go out there and win a war in one game. You could lose a war in one game, and you could lose your bankroll in one game if it gets crazy, stupid, doing stuff like that.
Yep.
But just approach it from an individual game aspect. You're going to win the battle, advance on. You're going to lose the battle, go to the next game, win that next battle. It's winning the battles to win the war is what it's all about.
Much better than my explanation. My wife says I speak Shawneese, and I need to be deciphered with some kind of book. I can't get my thoughts out properly. You think I should at like 51? I didn't know how to be able to speak, but I don't. But that's exactly what it is. It's not the war in one game. It's not that. You have to keep stacking them up. It's like compounding interest.
Yep.
Can PJ Fleck row the boat this week against Rutgers? I like Rutgers, and I'm not just a Jersey guy. I thought they didn't play all that terrible. And Minnesota, what has Fleck done up here?
Sean,
nothing.
These dogs are pouring out of you here. I'm loving it.
Wait, I'm not. You think I'm a big fave guy?
No, I know you're not a chalker. No, I know you're not. But I just love hearing them. That's all.
I do have a couple faves this weekend. I do have a couple. I have what? Well, I had ECU last night. I have what? Three faves this weekend. And I have how many dogs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dogs.
Nice.
Again, it's a giant battle for me. I got battles all over the timestamps. They're all over the place. My battles.
Number one team in defense in all of college football is the Minnesota Gophers.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, listen, you're beating Northwestern State.
That's exactly right.
63-0. That doesn't count to me.
Well,
I don't look at that.
It's also too early in the season to put a gauge on that. It really, truly is. And
tell me you played a regular non-conference, like a regular team out of a Power 5 or even 2 Power 4 schools or a Mountain West and a MAC team. I'd say, okay, at least they didn't play the Sisters of the Poor, as we like to say.
Right.
No, they did play Sisters of the Poor. I mean, you went to Cal. How'd that work out? You know?
Well, this is a Cal team that just lost as a 14-point favorite and got shut out in the football game last week against San Diego State. That's one of the weirdest things that I've seen in college football this year. What San Diego State did to California, 30-0. And again, you look inside those stats, the cuffs and the collars didn't match. That'll catch up with the San Diego State type football team. But getting back more to Minnesota here, they're the number one defense in the country because they threw a 66-0 egg, if you will, like you said, at Northwestern State. You take that out of the equation, and they're not even being whispered about being a top defense.
I like Pitt this weekend. Thoughts? I don't know if this is Pitt Panthers or the Pitt Steelers. We've already put the Steelers out as a pick here in the show today. Tampa Bay plus 3.5 and the Steelers plus 2.5. Mar. You know what? We've only given out 2 NFL. Do you want to go? We got to find one.
Sure.
What do you want? You want to do a pick a game? Because I don't know what you got on tap in your packages, so I don't want to tap into one of those. You could sell that one, but. Well, you got another one you want to talk about real fast?
I'm not shy about any game you want to talk about, Sean, whether I'm using it or I'm not. Because you don't know unless you make a purchase. But I'm still open to talking about any game on the card this week.
Let's run. Let's go. Baltimore, Kansas City. They're not even worthy of the Sunday night Green Bay Dallas spot. But Baltimore, Kansas City. Let's be honest. 2.5-point favorite Ravens. A terrible loss. We saw Kansas City scuffle on Sunday Night Football again offensively. Ravens up against it here. You already lost to the Bills. You lose here. One of these guys is going to be 1-3. One of these teams will be 1-3. And we got Minnesota, Arizona last night. The winner is now, 3-1? I mean, just bizarro land.
Well, I'm not going to knee-jerk to Patrick Mahomes and all those dog numbers and all the good stuff that he's done in the National Football League. I'll use it. I'll like it if I'm using it. But what I'm seeing in Baltimore here is a team that has, again, not won the yards in any football game they played this year. They're leaking oil, Baltimore is, and they're favored. Are you kidding me? This is the wrong spot for them to go out being favored here against a Kansas City team that needs the win. And here's something else that I did some research in my database. It's interesting. I'm going to share this with the viewers and the listeners out there. When I was working this game up here, I knew I didn't want to go to the Mahomes part of it because it's common knowledge how good he plays as an underdog. So I went to the coaches aspect and the Andy Reid aspect, and I ran him through the database. And what I found was really interesting is Andy Reid in his career, when he doesn't have a winning record, has been terrific. And when he plays an opponent that also does not have a winning record, how about, let me put this number on you here, 34-16 to the spread Andy Reid in this particular role.
Your camera just went haywire on us. You're down a little bit.
Oh, sorry about that. You know what I did? I moved the screen to look at the stat, and I forgot the cameras on the screen.
See, now I look at this game as the Ravens have been outplayed against the Bills.
Yes. Against
now the Lions. Now you have another kind of playoff caliber team coming in here, and yet they're still favored on the short week. Why?
Why is right.
Why is that? I don't know. I'll tell you, I took the under here. I took the under based on all of that. Short week, the way Kansas City plays, as bad as the Baltimore defense has been, I still think this is going to play out to something low scoring. I don't think they scored their 30 here to get to a 50 spot.
Well,
it was 49.5, so it did come down a little bit here now.
I think just on names alone and reputation, it's kind of a high total for two good teams, quasi good teams maybe perhaps in the past. And Baltimore's problem here has been their defense here, obviously. You're going to see that shored up here by John Harbaugh real quick. They can't continue to keep playing like this and expect to make it to the playoffs. And Andy Reid feels the same way. I mean, he's off to a 2-1 start. He overcame, or a 1-2 start. He overcame that 0-2 start to begin the football season here. This could be played a little bit more like playoff intensity. Even though they're not playing good, it's still Baltimore, Kansas City in a playoff-like atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, 48, like you said, one of these guys will be 1-3. Are you kidding me? I mean, Lamar is basically a 3-time MVP. Mahomes is an MVP Super Bowl winner. And somebody's going to be real. I don't say playing for their playoff lives. You're 1-3 and you lost to in the Kansas City Chiefs. You lost to a rival in the Chargers, and in this case for Baltimore, you better kiss your. You're on the road. You're a wild card team. You lost to the Bills. You lost to the Chiefs. There's no way you get one of those guys at home now. That desperate football, to say the least. We're over an hour here. Let's just see what we got here. Panthers. Is that what we're saying here? The Panthers. Pitt Panthers. For Pitt Panthers over, who they got? Louisville? Pitt? Who's Pitt playing?
Yeah, they're a home dog to Louisville this week. Another good role here, if you will, for Nails, Narduzzi. I think he's in the right spot here in this particular game. Comes off the loss to West Virginia. Has, I believe, if I'm right, a week of rest. Yes, he does, to get ready for this contest. And the only bad game he's played has been that West Virginia game, which went to overtime. I think that makes him a live dog in this game.
I had Pitt that game. I'm thinking, you know what? They lost to Ohio, Miami, Ohio. They lost to Ohio, whoever West Virginia lost to. The running back was out. They're all conference running back. Wide receivers banged up. And I saw Pitt the week before throw a touchdown with 30 seconds left to cover the spread versus like Central Michigan or some bunch. I'm like, oh, Narduzzi's going to want to run this one up here. No doubt. And then they lose as a touchdown favorite. What a joke. And I had a good night, I had like a 3 because the guys got ruled out later in the week. I'm like, you got to be kidding me here.
Kind of Virginia, by the way, it says
the quarterback
Nico. I don't think he's a real good favorite, Narduzzi. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say, it says West Virginia quarterback is out. Nico Marshall says downgrade to ruled out Saturday against Utah. So the hits keep on coming for Rich Rod. Ravens Chiefs, we just did, Gio. I'm going to make a under 48.5 as a show pick today.
You know what they call the players on West Virginia these days, Sean?
What?
Rich Rodians.
Rich Rodians?
Rich Rodians. That's what they are. Sorry about that.
Sometimes you can't go home. Sometimes you don't have to go home. It's not worth going home. I don't think, to go back to the glory days. They're the glory days for a reason. They're over with. Let it go. Retire. Go be an assistant or something. The Chiefs are going to lose 2 times as a home dog this year. Well, you never know. I know Worthy's back. Listen, Giovanni, this is a tough game for both these teams. Neither of these guys want to win. In a perfect world, this ends in a 2020 tie. Let's be honest. It's the tie game. Ray likes the Chiefs. Marc Lawrence is a legend. I appreciate your insight there from David. He sure is.
Well, I appreciate that, David. Thank you.
We're over now, Mark. I'm going to let you go. I know your time is precious here. We've done an hour. We've got a bunch of free picks here. I will recap them for everybody. You've stuck around this long, or even if you just come in the last 15, 20 minutes, whatever, hit the like, share, subscribe, notification bell on. Football Friday is live every Friday. Matt Fargo was supposed to be here with us, but he did not make it. Hopefully he's all right. He did have some technical difficulties last week during the week, and he was freezing up, and people were digging on his lawn looking for gold or something, like it's a Goonies episode going on. I have no idea what's happening. But, that's life. But life is also being part of the Winner Circle YouTube channel. Our best bets. Listen, here are the free plays today. You want them? Here we go. NFL, Tampa Bay plus 3.5. Pittsburgh plus 2.5. That's your early special. That's an early game, 9 a.m. Wake up early, have some bacon and eggs, wakey, eggs and bakey. Taylor ham and cheese sandwich. It's Taylor ham, not pork roll for Jim and the filthy South Jersey Philly people. No, it's Taylor ham. Jim shaking his head. He's like, that's pork roll. No, it's not. It's Taylor ham. Taylor ham. Kansas City under 48.5 NFL. College-wise, we did a video the other day. Virginia plus 7 was a play. Today, more dogs. Illinois plus 7. Mississippi State plus 7. Arizona plus 6.5. It's a dog-a-rooney this weekend. If we have the barking dogs, forget about it. It'll be a party time here, Mark. We got 6 of them on the show this week. Not just here, but just all week long. And we took Dallas the other day plus 7, by the way.
Yeah, we let the dogs out on the show today, Sean. No question about that.
So we had Dallas plus 7 the other day as well. And, you know what? People asking, me and Doug took Georgia. I did Georgia minus 3. He had Georgia on the money line. So there is 2 more games I'll have to write down here. Georgia minus the 1. He wanted to lay 150. I said I'd rather do minus 3. So there is that. Speaking of 3, buy 3 days, get the 4-3 right now at gamblersworld.net. College, NFL, Major League Baseball, all sports will be included in the buy 3, get 1. So there you have it. Mark, always a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, my pleasure as always, Sean. Let's hope the ball.
I got to up my game. You got a jacket and a button down. I just got the polo. I got to wear. I'm coming with a tie next week or something on.
Mr. Casual.
A little top hat. Top hat and a monocle. If we sweep the board, I look at Mr. Monopoly. We'll be rolling. We're out of here, folks.
Sean.
Take it easy, everybody.
All right, be well.